The driveway war. After a grueling 12-hour night shift at the hospital, I was beyond exhausted. As a floor nurse, my back ached with a deep, unrelenting pain that clung to my spine. All I wanted was to collapse on my couch for a few hours of sleep. My father, Henry, in his late 70s and struggling with mobility, lived with me. I kept our driveway clear for his walker and cane, ensuring he could safely come and go. But that morning, as I turned onto our quiet street, I slammed on the brakes. A silver SUV sat squarely in the middle of my driveway. At first, I thought it might be an emergency, a broken-down car or a quick stop. But there was no note, no neighbor, no sign of urgency. Just that SUV parked like it owned the place. Trying to stay calm, I parked on the street, a challenge in our neighborhood where spots were scarce, and scribbled a polite note. "This is private property. Please don't park here. Thanks." I tucked it under the windshield wiper and dragged myself inside, heart racing from the surprise. I hoped it was a one-time mistake. Hours later, still groggy from my shift, I checked outside. The SUV hadn't budged. My note? Crumpled and tossed into the bushes like trash. My patience snapped. I had an appointment for Henry's doctor soon, and I needed the driveway clear in case he needed help. Frustrated, I wrote a second note, sharper this time. "This is private property. Do not park here. Final warning." I placed on the windshield, praying they'd get the message. But the next morning, as I headed out for groceries, there it was again, bold as ever, parked like it belonged. My final warning was torn to shreds, scattered across the ground. Adrenaline surged. Whoever this was, they didn't care about my property or my father's needs. I was done playing nice. The next morning, I steeled myself to confront the culprit. As I eyed the SUV, wondering if I could get it towed without a scene, a woman stepped out from the house across the street. Linda, the newly elected HOA president. She had a sharp blonde bob, a crisp white blouse, and a scowl that could curdle milk. Neighborhood gossip painted her as a tyrant, nitpicking violations like slightly overgrown grass. Until now, I'd avoided her. Linda stormed toward me. "Why are you near my car?" she snapped. I blinked. Her car? This was the woman blocking my driveway. Keeping my voice steady, I asked, "This SUV is yours?" She crossed her arms, smirking. "Yes. Street parking's a nightmare, and I have HOA business. I use your driveway sometimes. What's the big deal? You're not using it every second." My jaw clenched. "You're on my property without permission. I've left notes. My father needs access." She scoffed. "I'm the HOA president. I know the rules. You don't own the street." Pointing at my driveway, she added, "If it mattered, you should have spoken up sooner." I shot back. I tried. "You threw away my notes." Linda shrugged, slid into her SUV, and called over her shoulder, "If you want me to stop, try harder than scraps of paper." She peeled off, leaving me fuming. For a few days, Linda stayed away. Henry was relieved. No more struggling along the curb. I dared to hope she'd gotten the message. But a week later, after another brutal shift, I pulled into the neighborhood and stopped cold. Her SUV was back, parked diagonally, blocking the accessibility ramp I'd installed for Henry. I saw red. Storming across the street, I banged on her door. The porch light flicked on, and Linda opened it, silk robe and all, looking like I'd ruined her spa night. "What now?" she asked flatly. "You blocked the ramp," I said, struggling to stay calm. "My dad can't get out." She smirked. "That metal thing? I thought it was junk. He can walk around it." I gritted my teeth. "He uses a walker. That ramp's his only safe exit." Linda's eyes narrowed. "I'm sorry your crippled father's an inconvenience, but maybe he doesn't belong in a neighborhood for people with lives. Isn't there a facility for him?" My stomach twisted. She leaned against the doorframe. "Honestly, it's a safety issue. A man that fragile? Someone could sue. Maybe I'm doing you a favor." My fists clenched. "Move the car." She rolled her eyes. "Fine, but keep knocking, and I'll make your life a checklist of violations. I know every rule and how to bend them." She slammed the door. 5 minutes later, the SUV moved, but her words lingered like poison. The next morning, during Henry's nurse visit, a thud echoed from the yard. I looked out and saw Linda at our mailbox, slapping a neon pink notice on it. Stepping outside, I braced for madness. Taped to the mailbox was an HOA violation notice, case 472B, with a stack of papers, a citation for hazardous materials, oil stains from her SUV, a memo on new HOA rules for leaks, a claim I'd fail maintenance standards, and a pre-lien notice threatening my home if I didn't pay fines. She'd even highlighted a rule calling my driveway visually disruptive to community harmony. I muttered, "You've got to be kidding." Linda stood smug. "This is a formal notice. Pursuant to Article 5, Section 2.3, your driveway is out of standard. 7 days to fix it or face $1,000 fines." I snapped, "You caused the stains." She waved me off. "Responsibility falls to the owner. Addendum 14B, Clause E. Keep up." My hands shook as she marched off, leaving me drowning in bureaucratic nonsense. That afternoon, I called my college friend, Mark, a property dispute attorney. After hearing everything, he laughed in disbelief. "This is trespassing. She has no right to park on your driveway, HOA president or not. Tell her next time. Document everything, photos, timestamps." Her threats? That's harassment. His words flipped a switch. I tried politeness, directness. Linda dismissed it all. Henry's safety was at stake. The next time her SUV appeared, I'd act. I didn't wait long. Days later, after a grocery run, I saw her SUV gleaming in my driveway, blocking the walkway. Henry's home health aide was due, and we needed access. I snapped photos, then called a tow company. "I've got an unauthorized vehicle in my driveway," I said calmly. The tow truck arrived fast. Watching them haul her SUV away felt cathartic. My heart pounded with nerves and relief. Linda had pushed me too far. That evening, a furious pounding shook my door. Linda stood there, face red, gripping her phone. "You towed my car?" she shrieked. I stayed calm. "You parked in my driveway again." She jabbed a finger. "That was illegal. I had HOA documents inside." I arched an eyebrow. "Illegal? You were trespassing. I warned you." Her nostrils flared. "I'm the HOA president. You had no right." I shot back. "Your title doesn't give you a parking spot on my property." She pulled out her phone. "I'm calling the police. You're harassing me." I shrugged. "Be my guest." 15 minutes later, 2 officers arrived. Linda ran to them, pointing at me. "He stole my car. I had to park there. HOA business." Officer Reynolds raised a hand. "Ma'am, slow down. I show my photos." Reynolds glanced at Linda. "That's private property. He can remove unauthorized vehicles." Linda's face paled, then twisted. "I'm the HOA president." Officer Martinez sighed. "Your title doesn't let you park on his property. Pay the towing fee." Linda gasped. "Pay? You're siding with him." Martinez's expression hardened. "You called us over a legal tow. Another false report could mean charges." Linda turned to Reynolds, desperate. "You letting him get away with this? I run this neighborhood." Reynolds didn't flinch. "The law doesn't care who you are." He followed it. Linda hissed, "You'll regret this," and stormed off. The officers nodded to me and left. For the first time in weeks, my driveway was clear. For a week, Linda avoided me, sending only bitter glances. I focused on Henry, who had surgery coming up. But peace never lasts with someone like Linda. One Saturday, I opened the curtains to take Henry to a follow-up appointment and froze. Her SUV was back, and a sedan was parked behind it, boxing me in. Henry's appointment was in 2 hours. I rushed outside, furious. The sedan likely belonged to a friend, but what made her think my driveway was her parking lot? Henry appeared, leaning on his walker. "Everything okay, son?" I clenched my fists. Linda's pulled another stunt. 2 cars. He shook his head. "That woman has no boundaries." I knocked on Linda's door. No answer. I called out, checked with neighbors. Nothing. I couldn't wait. Mark's words echoed. "Tow any unauthorized vehicle." I called the tow company. 2 vehicles blocking my driveway. The dispatcher chuckled, recalling our last call. 2 trucks arrived. The drivers shook their heads at the audacity. They towed Linda's SUV, then the sedan. My hands trembled with adrenaline, but I felt justified. Linda had no regard for my boundaries or Henry's health. 2 hours later, a car screeched outside. Linda stormed up, face contorted, phone to her ear. "Where's my car?" she screamed. I stepped onto the porch. Both cars were towed. "You parked on my property." Her face froze, then twisted. "You can't. I'm the HOA president. This is harassment." She paced, ranting into her phone. Henry watched from the doorway, shaking his head. The same 2 officers arrived. Linda rushed them. "He towed my cars twice." "Arrest him." Reynolds sighed. "Got photos." I showed them. "Just like last time," he muttered. To Linda, he said he's within his rights. Linda's face crumpled. She shouted I was ruining her life, threatening violations. The officers let her rant, filling out paperwork. She unraveled completely, trembling, tears brimming, as she realized she'd pay towing fees for both cars. The officers confirmed no crime was committed and left. Linda locked eyes with me. "You've made an enemy you can't handle." I stood silent. Her phone rang, likely the tow yard. She glanced at it, cursed, and stormed off. Weeks later, Linda resigned as HOA president. The neighborhood buzzed with the story. She moved away, her reputation in tatters. My driveway stayed clear, and Henry's health improved. I defended my home and my father, and the law backed me. Linda thought her title made her untouchable, but she learned the hard way. No one's above accountability. What do you think? Was I right to tow her cars? Or should I have handled it differently? Share your thoughts in the comments, especially on dealing with bullying and injustice in everyday life. Where do you stand? Let's hear your perspective.